Roll call, please.
Johnson,
Here.
Conlon,
Here.
Rose,
Here.
Jenkins,
Here.
Levinas,
Here.
Gilmore,
Here.
Haskell,
Excuse.
Oakley,
Here.
Reinhardt.
Excuse. Okay, everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Lots of discussion, Chairman,
Oh, go ahead.
on 11. G. That was not discussed at the committee of the whole, nor was it recommended to be brought to this full regular committee for decision.
It was requested by a member of the public.
It was not recommended by the members of this board to be moved to the committee of the whole. I asked that it be stricken from the agenda.
I would rather discuss it. So are you moving to strike it from the agenda?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to strike. Having a press release about the lawsuit between the former prosecutor and the Board of Commissioners put in the paper. All those in favor of striking that from our agenda? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. Okay, motion defeated. Okay, now could I have a motion to approve the agenda? I'm sorry. Made by Dale and seconded by Marlene. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we are to the approval of the minutes. From the February Commissioners meeting, the closed session minutes, and the committee of the whole minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. General public comment. Pat. 3 minutes, please. It's a long agenda.
I understand.
Okay.
My memory's going on a lot of things. I was gonna talk to you about a few things, but I couldn't remember last time I was here. I go to the Veterans Coffee Hour and I was in, talked to the airport manager. He said he's laid off. There was a bill that came from 2023 that popped up. I was wondering what, that probably would have been in the budget from back then. And I know they used the money that was existing right now to take care of it. And I know there's exceptions for items being purchased that wasn't in the budget. Examples is the rainbow. There's a rainbow that came up available for the sheriff department, which was very well needed and everything else. I'm glad it passed. And that wasn't in the budget, but it got approved, which was quite a little bit of money. And that came up. And then there was 3 police cars that was purchased because they came available. And that wasn't in the budget. Then later, because it was in the previous year's budget, you guys said, okay, let's do it. Then three more vehicles came in and got purchased under the previous year's budget. Also, I know budget adjustments are being done. An example is 11C on the adjustment 2564. So I'm asking if the board might look into possibly looking at making a budget adjustment and paying for the bill 2023 out of money like you guys had access from previous years. That way we can have the airport manager still working and would be a possibility of us losing our grant.
Can I answer that question for you?
Sure.
Currently, our county administrator is handling all of those duties of the airport manager. And we're waiting for an appointment with the Aeronautics Association, so we can find out what our options are. So there's no threat right now of the airport being closed immediately. We have to find out what our options really are.
Okay.
It hasn't even been discussed as a board yet.
Okay, I'm just asking if you guys would discuss it, you
We
know,
will.
about a funding, because my understanding, airport managers gotta have certain training in order to, and I don't want the budget, our grant jeopardized. Okay, so if you.
They were actually here today. Saw three of them.
So, I had to leave while you guys, had closed session the other day because I had training for our township. And I was wondering, was there a decision made if the board is going to pursue, going after the previous prosecutor to pay for the legal fees? Was it decided to proceed or not to proceed?
If there is no, we're not proceeding with that.
Okay, thank you.
And your 3 minutes are up.
Really? Anybody want to yield me some time?
No,
No? Okay, I got another reading.
there's another
I know.
public comment.
That's what.
Anyone else? Okay. Steve. Curry, I think you're up.
Welcome.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Steve Curry. I'm the executive director of the Michigan Association of Counties. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. One of my roles as executive director is I try to get out to as many counties as possible a year. Try to get to about 40. It's tough because there's only so many second Tuesdays, third Thursdays in a year, but I appreciate you giving me some time today. I know you have a long agenda. I do have some slides I'm going to run through. Feel free to interrupt me during the slides if you have any questions, or you can wait to the end, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you go to the next slide. So we look at our work at MAC in 3 different buckets: advocacy, both at the state and federal level, education for our commissioners and other county folks, and services. Advocacy, we definitely look at as a team effort. While we try to be the voice of county commissioners in Lansing, hopefully you are armed with information as your local elected officials come back to their districts. You can communicate some of the concerns that we're telling them in Lansing back home. On the educational front, we provide numerous educational opportunities, 2 conferences a year, which our next conference is coming up April 7 through 9 in Lansing. We also provide various webinars throughout the year, and we provide a county commissioner school where you can earn credits and get different certifications. That usually starts with our new county commissioner school, which started this past fall in cooperation with MSU Extension. And then finally, services. We provide a variety of services through the association that many counties take advantage of that save them time and money. Go to the next slide, please. This is kind of the makeup of our MAC board. We have 16 elected county commissioners. Our elections are held at our annual conference. 2 seats from each of our 6 regions. The board meets at least 4 times a year, usually each of our conferences 2 separate times. We'll be having elections at our upcoming conference, our annual conference this fall in Traverse City. More information will come on what seats are available in that as we get closer to that conference. Next slide, please. This is our current MAC board leadership makeup. Melissa Daub is the MAC president from Wayne County. Antoinette Wallace is the first vice president from Macomb County. Brian Kolk from Nuevo County is our second vice president, and Stan Ponstein from Kent County is our past president. Next slide, please. This talks a little bit about our events. I mentioned our upcoming conference. That'll be April 7 through 9 in Lansing. Registration is open through March 28th. If you haven't registered, please do so. And then our annual conference will be September 30th through October 2nd in Grand Traverse. Next slide, please. So some of our legislative accomplishments coming out of 2024. Our number 1 issue every year is county revenue sharing. As many of you know, county revenue sharing is statutorily appropriated each year. We do not get constitutional revenue sharing, which is guaranteed by the Constitution, like cities, villages, and townships. So what that means is each year the legislature can appropriate those county revenue sharing dollars away. We've been very successful for the past 10+ years in getting increases to county revenue sharing. Last year, we did get a $30 million increase, which was about $31,000, I think, or something more for you guys. Actually, I think it was closer to $80,000. This year, in the governor's budget recommendation, there's a 3.6 percent increase, which is about $31,000 for Clare County. Some of the other areas we focused on last legislative session, trial court funding fee, that was due to sunset last year. What that means is that those fees, the court charges for those folks that are using the court system would have went away. That would have cost counties about $30 million statewide. We were able to get those fees to be continued to be charged until the end of 2026. There is an effort to look at how courts are funded, how those fees are charged, where do those fees go? There's some different work groups that Scale, the State Court Administrator's Office, is looking at to maybe look at a better way to assess fees, distribute fees, run the court system. So we'll see how those bills or how those work groups come out and what kind of bills are introduced from that. There was also $17 million in grants for 15 county prosecutors' office based on crime rate. As many of you know, it's getting harder and harder to fund your prosecutor's office and prosecutors around. This was an effort to kind of ease some of those costs. On the Health and Human Services side, we worked with NDHHS to get 1115 waiver. As you may or may not know, when someone is charged and put into your county jail system, they lose all their healthcare coverage. Medicare and Medicaid goes away. That can be a significant cost to counties. If they were to have a health issue, the county would be forced to pay that, whatever the hospital system would charge you for that. This waiver would be from the federal government and would allow them to continue their health care benefits through conviction. Many states have already gotten these waivers through the federal government, another cost saving effort on our part to help you guys save money at the local level. And then we also worked on a PPT exemption reimbursement. So back in 2019, when they changed the PPT law, there was an exemption made that cost local governments statewide about $75 million. At the time when that deal was made, we were promised that we would be kept whole. We were finally able to live up to that promise last legislative session and get that $75 million back to local governments. And then finally, some changes to lake levels and how lake levels are handled by county commissions. Go to the next slide, please. So some of the things we were able to fend off during the lame duck session, there was an effort to change minimum staffing requirements and make them subject to collective bargaining. There was an effort to move to a statewide sanitary code instead of it being handled by your local public health departments, and it changes the publicly funded healthcare insurance for counties. There were some changes there, but we were able to fend those off. Next slide, please. Some of the things we're going to be working on this legislative session, and this first one's nothing new. If you've gotten any of our updates, we've talked about it for many years. I mentioned statutory revenue sharing and how that is appropriated each year by the legislature. What we are trying to do is create a trust fund, which is a virtual lockbox for county revenue sharing dollars. It would make it much more difficult for the legislature to appropriate those county revenue sharing dollars away each year. We did have legislation that passed out of the House last legislative session, 106-4. So obviously broad bipartisan support, but couldn't get it moved out of the Senate. So we're going to be taking up that effort again this legislative session. Bills have not been introduced yet, but when they are, we'll be sure to communicate those to you. The Sick Time Act that has been enacted at this point. Those changes have been made. I have a slide on that. I won't spend much time on it since it's been a month or so since that's been enacted. The next one is veteran property tax exemption. What we're looking to do here, and we've been talking about this for a while, is back in 2015, there was a veterans property tax exemption granted for disabled veterans across the state of Michigan. It has been expanded over the years and is now ballooned to where it costs local governments probably about $80 million a year. What we're trying to do is get the state to reimburse us for that. I talked about that PPT reimbursement exemption. This would be something similar. Would have no impact on veterans, but they would continue to get their property tax exemption. We are supportive of that, but we do feel like the state should reimburse us for that property tax exemption. So we're working with, we've been in the past, we've worked with DSOs and other veteran groups to get their support on that. I talked about the funding solution for courts already. And then, of course, road funding is a hot topic right now, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in another slide. Next slide, please. So we've had some shifts in politics in Lansing, but we now have a Republican-controlled House. The Democrats cling to a very slim majority in the Senate. The House leadership has eliminated the local government committee where a lot of our bills went through. What does that mean for us? That just means that it means more education for those members that sit on finance and some of those other committees where some of our bills will now go to, where it was a little more funneled before through local government. And then finally, the House has enacted a rule that would restrict budget earmarks. Doesn't directly affect us because it doesn't affect revenue sharing or any of those other funding mechanisms, but specific earmarks now have to follow specific rules in the House. Next slide, please. So let's talk road funding. The House Republican plan was introduced last week and incidentally passed out of committee yesterday, so it is now on the House floor. We are expecting a floor vote this week. They would like to get it off the floor this week. Huge dollars for county roads. Some of the most significant dollars we've seen in a long time. And how did they get there? Well, they replaced the sales tax on gasoline and replaced it with an increased gas tax. And you can see the numbers there. There's a shift in the corporate income tax. And we are supportive of the plan. We do have concerns down the line on the stress of general fund dollars for the state, obviously, because we get state revenue sharing dollars from the general fund. However, at this point, we're willing to deal with that later, and let's get these road funding dollars to locals, significant dollars. We are waiting to see what the governor's plan looks like right now. We are expecting some similarities in the House Republican plan and the governor's plan. So we'll see where her plan is actually introduced at. There's no bills yet, and kind of see how things play out over the next slide, please. Some changes to the Michigan Indian Defense Commission. This would expand it to youth. It would increase the commission from 18 to 19 members, which would be a youth defense expert. We do have concerns about this because the MIDC gains the authority to determine indigency, and the disbursement model would change from 3 payments to 4 payments. So obviously those payments would get smaller instead of staying where they're at now. So we're working to get those changes. Next slide, please. I talked about the Earned Sick Time Act. I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide, so you can kind of go ahead and go to the next slide. These are our policy committees. So everything I talked about, we talk about in all of our policy committees. There's 5 committees. They meet remotely. You don't have to come to Lansing to participate if you'd like. We've had that option for many, many years. They meet about 6-7 times a year from the fall into the spring. They make our recommendations to our board. Then those recommendations go to our general membership and are voted on at our annual conference. Next slide, please. We do have a PAC. It's a small PAC, but it does support former county commissioners in the legislature. There are 26 of them. If you'd like to donate, you can go to the website there. Slide, please. These are some of the services I mentioned earlier. CoPro Plus is a cooperative purchasing program many counties take advantage of. So it's like a MyDeal, but for county specific products. We have a workers' compensation fund we administer. We have a variety of healthcare options that some counties take advantage of as well. Next slide, please. And these are our communication tools. So hopefully you're getting our weekly legislative update. We do a podcast every week. We have Facebook, Twitter, all that. And we've gone to a printed newsletter that comes out every other month that hopefully you're getting. And that distribution is up to about 1,600 people now. So pretty broad distribution on that. So with that, that's my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So I have one quick question. So how do they define indigency now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's some sort of threshold as far as how much money they make. But I have to, let me get some more information.
But it's the court that defines that.
Yes, I believe.
So in this case, the change would be that the people that actually would benefit would set the rules on who's indigent or not.
I believe it would go to the commission. So that commission is a statewide commission that has members, appointed members from the legislature, the governor's office. We have a couple members on there. So that commission would determine that indigency, not the commission would. So I guess indirectly, yes, to your point. But
So the people who benefit would set the rates.
yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, the question on the sales tax. So the sales tax would be removed from the sale of gas and replaced with a gas tax.
Well, there's already a gas tax on gasoline. So there's the gas tax and sales tax now. So what they would do is pull back that sales tax, increase the gas tax.
To create no change.
Right, the net change would be 0, but the way that gas tax is distributed is through the PA 51 formula. And they're pushing more of it to the bottom part of that formula, which there's 3 buckets. It's the cities, villages, roads, county roads, and then the state gets a portion of that as well.
Right. So it would be an improvement to
Better
better funding,
yes.
because the sales tax goes to the general fund.
Correct.
Right, so now this all will go to P 51 and be used directly for the roads.
Correct.
So does the MAC endorse that plan?
Yeah, we support that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, there's significant, if you look at that slide, there's a lot of dollars coming to county roads, and that's why we're supporting.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions for Steve? Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Okay. Next is from the Justice Department. David, would you read that motion, please?
Of course. Motion to approve the hiring of an additional circuit court clerk due to the anticipated workload shift in the courts.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
George, what's the chance of having this tabled until the next meeting, so I can have further discussion with the chief judge?
I think it would be excellent. In fact, I would like to see it tabled for 6 months because this is an anticipated workload. I would rather see a justified workload before we hire someone, especially since we already instituted a hiring freeze. Not knowing exactly what our financing is going to be for the coming year with government funds being the way they are.
And I'd just like to have some more conversations with chief judge.
So are you moving the table motion?
Well, don't we have to respond to the first motion or no?
And
Can't
you-
table for 6 months, just so you know, you have to, if you table it, it has to be brought back to the next meeting.
You're wrong.
I don't believe.
I can
so,
show
but
you in Robert's rules.
Do what you want, you're gonna anyway.
Thank you. Whatever.
Sure, I'll make it, if I can,
The
I'll make a
motion
motion
is
to table,
appropriate.
yes.
Any specific time to table to or just till the next meeting?
I think to the next meeting will be better, because it gives enough time for you to meet with the chief justice, then we can bring it back up and have a discussion then. If we're gonna table it, at least,
It's Dale's motion.
we're not discussing.
After he finishes making his motion,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for 2 months,
2 months,
yes.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now is there any discussion?
Is there a specific reason for 2 months as opposed?
I
to
just want
next meeting?
time to do it. And I think this is a big issue and it needs to be thoroughly discussed and thoroughly details. And there's really no big rush on it, so.
Could you remind me what the date is on when the transition of the files, it's slipping my mind on when all of the files get transferred and that's finalized?
April 1st.
Is it April 1st?
But the county clerk's office handles all of those files anyway. And I think we already approved you hiring a person, didn't we, Lori?
You approved me to replace an employee that
Yeah.
left, and we don't handle all of those duties that are being passed to our office. We do handle the files, but we don't handle the duties.
Okay. I think gathering more information is a great idea. Any other discussion? All those in favor of tabling the motion? For 2 months? We probably should have roll call vote, please.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Rose,
No.
Oakland,
No.
Osborne,
Yes,
Wojciechowski,
Yes,
Andrewsaitis,
No.
Gilmore,
Yes. Okay, the motion is tabled for 2 months. Okay, would you read the next motion, please?
Of course.
Motion to approve reappointment of Jeff Uchez as the citizen representative position for the 911 advisory board for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2027.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Marlene, would you take C?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 25-08 declaring April 6th, 2025 through April 12th, 2025 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Drosky,
Yes.
Rubenstein.
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes. Okay, motion carried. Rick,
Senior Services, to approve internal loan of $250,000 to Senior Services at 2% interest to be paid over 5 years with a payment of $52,583 per year.
I'll second.
been moved and seconded. Any discussion on it?
So this form that we're handed out by the treasurer, which one are we looking at then? 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, 5 years?
It's 5 years. 2% interest over 5 years.
That's the bottom left one, right?
Bottom.
Okay, roll call, please.
Drosky,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Rubenstein.
Yes.
Okay, Jacob, would you do the next one, please? B.
Motion to reappoint Joe Phillips to the Central Michigan Community Health Services to 3-year term expiring on March 31st of 2028.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
May I ask, was that Gross and Drosky?
I made the motion. and-
Motion, okay, thank you.
Okay, Dale.
Sure, motion to approve the adopted Heartland Materials Management Planning Committee bylaws and allow the county administrator to sign.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. David. Conservation District, please.
Okay, motion to approve the continued agreement with the Conservation District for soil erosion services.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Okay, roll call, please.
Rubenstein,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
and Drosky.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Gabe.
Motion to approve the continued agreement with the Conservation District for spongy moth services.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Hauser,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Drosky,
Yes.
Rubenstein.
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
All right. Marlene.
Make a motion, excuse me, make a motion to appoint Andrew Erskine, Dave Porter, Charlie Heath, and to reappoint Terry Thayer and Scott Miller to the Construction Board of Appeals for a 2-year term expiring 12/31 of 26.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Rick.
To appoint Jerry Becker as the second Clare County representative to the East Michigan Council of Government Boards.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? With Jerry was here, I congratulate you. Jacob.
Motion to approve the Statutory Finance Committee's meeting minutes from February 18th, 2025 in the amount of $117,973.51 and minutes of March 3rd, 2025 in the amount of $148,834.19.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Hauser,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Brusadas,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Dale,
Sure, to approve the expenditures of the month of February twenty twenty-five in the amount of $4,022,768.64. With the general fund expenditures totaling $1,074,469.62.
Second,
Ladies first.
seconded by Marlene. Okay, roll call, please.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Jaski,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Brusadas,
Yes.
Hauser.
yes.
Okay, David,
Which one is it?
C.
C, budget. Motion to approve budget adjustments 25-64 in the amount of 93,000.
There's second.
I'll second it.
Okay, been moved and seconded, roll call, please.
Rose,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Brusadas.
Yes.
Jaski,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Okay, Gabe,
Make a motion to revise the board commissioners meeting schedule to accommodate evening meetings.
Second it.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to revise our meeting schedule to accommodate evening meetings. Is there any discussion?
So what would the passing of this motion mean? Does that mean that we're definitely going to have evening meetings or that we would?
It would mean we were definitely going to have evening meetings and we would need to schedule them. And adjust that schedule at our next meeting.
And would that be an additional meeting or adjusting
No.
this meeting to be an evening time?
Adjusting this meeting. Good question.
Just wanted to make sure that I was
Have
understanding
the
that
absent
appropriately.
commissioners weighed in on this?
No, I haven't heard from them, no.
Oh, wait, yes, Jeff did weigh in on it.
Okay.
Jeff did call me and said, no evening meetings. But he doesn't have a vote, he just said no evening.
Would it
meetings.
be perhaps best to table this till the next meeting when all commissioners can be here?
That's always a possibility. Are you moving that motion?
Yes.
You're moving to table this till the next meeting?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to table this till the next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
No.
Okay, motion defeated. Then we need to vote on having a meeting scheduled. I didn't vote. Okay, I would have voted no.
So three, Dale, did you vote to
Yes.
table?
No.
it? Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I think you did vote to table it.
I do too.
So we will vote to adjust the schedule to accommodate evening meetings. All those in favor of having the evening meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Opposed?
No. Okay, motion defeated. Marlene,
Make a motion to continue the Zoom live stream option for the Board of Commissioners meetings.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to continue the Zoom meetings for live stream. And I would like to help discuss that. I'm the one that is currently opposed to it, and I will admit that openly. It's not that I'm not in favor of transparency. I just think since they're not allowed to communicate through Zoom, that it's not fiscally responsible. We pay Jody to sit there and run it and allow people to zoom in. And most of the people that are zooming in are right here in this building watching. I'm not sure they're doing their work efficiently while they're watching our meeting if they can't participate. And I'm sure if they wanted to participate, they would be allowed time to come down here and participate. And which leads us to the next motion we're going to be dealing with. We could go ahead and record it and post it afterwards if people wanted to pull it up and watch the Zoom meeting at a later time. We would just stop the live stream.
George, I have, 2 points that I'd like to consider.
Sure.
For the board. First of all, I did go and talk to my townships again about it, during, we had the discussion. And they were all again, in favor of continuing it. Several of my townships are at least about now. If it is the concern about the money for the thing, Zoom is not a difficult software to run. I am willing to continue the duties of running it. We have a corner here. If you're worried about Jody not being able to do work.
I don't think we can have you do work for jobs that would be held here.
Well, it would just be sitting.
It would be a union thing. So I don't think you can do that, David.
And then my second point is. We have to pay Jody whether she's in the boardroom here or in her office, so we're not really,
But I'm sure she has other work she could be doing.
as I stated, Zoom is not something that you have to constantly. Or website, if you see something come up, you can stop.
Let me ask you a question. What is the purpose of having it live streamed if they can't participate? If they could pull it up later afterward and watch the same meeting?
I'm in favor of being able to look at it after the fact, but
So am I.
I want to be able to see it when it's going on in case they have something they'd like to discuss. I understand that they cannot participate, but that doesn't mean that they can't talk about it with people that they're watching.
It would only delay that conversation a day.
I call for a vote.
Okay,
I asked for a roll call vote.
all right, we can do that. The motion was to continue live stream of the Zoom meetings at the Board of Commissioners meeting. Roll call, please.
Titus,
Yes.
Bacon,
No.
Rose,
Yes.
Osborne,
No.
Janeski,
Yes,
Gilmore,
No.
Oakley,
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Where did we leave off?
Post the
Zoom
board
number
commissioners meeting
2.
videos after the
I
meeting.
I know, I don't know who I left off with. You read the light.
Me.
Oh, did you? Oh, it's my turn. Motion to post the board of commissioners meeting videos after the meeting.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we both post the Board of Commissioners meeting video after the meeting. Is there any discussion on that? We're live streaming. I don't see the sense in doing it twice.
Well, I'm gonna, but if you're live streaming it, I mean, just put it out, people can't live stream it and pull it back up. I think we should, my person should do it.
It's fine. Okay. Let's do roll call on that too, please.
Janeski,
yes,
Osborne,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Titus.
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Gilmore,
I can get along, yes.
you said yes, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Okay, Jacob, you have F.
Motion to continue the committee of the whole meetings.
I'll second.
Yes, been moved and seconded to continue the committee of the whole meetings. Is there any discussion?
I think things have been working very well. I don't see a reason to change it.
The only reason I would like to see it changed is if we're having a meeting, I think it's important to be able to have business conducted at the meeting without having dissension on the board. And we can either decide to postpone the items like we've done today by tabling it, or it can be voted up or down at the time of the meeting. I find it useless to have a meeting that we're not supposed to transact business at.
I just would like us to have 2 meetings.
I'm not opposed to 2 meetings, but I'm opposed to one of them being called committee of the whole and having people objecting to handling business.
Yeah, George, I'm calling for a roll call on this one too.
All right,
I'd like to say on that point, I know because we discussed this before, that the major reason for having the committee of the whole would be to discuss business, and then if there is action that needs to be taken which is not as, would only be when there's urgent business that has to be taken care of before our regular meeting on the third Wednesday. Would be the case where that's why we have the ability to call special meetings for handling business. But to have a second regular meeting puts a lot more strain on Lori because she has to prepare everything to a higher degree and it has to be done within a certain time frame. Having
That's
two
fine.
regular meetings.
That's fine. This would not automatically become a regular meeting. It would do away with committee of the whole meetings. And we could still call special meetings at any time.
Right, but then it reduces down to one meeting instead of two, which is.
Right.
Where we. Okay, that's the point I was making is because like David had said, it seems beneficial to have a meeting that we can discuss this stuff. So when we come in here. Because from what I understand, the meetings used to be several more hours long than the ones that we have right
I'm
now.
okay with the meeting lasting all day. I just am opposed to having a meeting where we're not allowed to take action, or if we do take action, getting briefed because you're not supposed to take action at committee of the whole.
The committee of the whole is for us to discuss, it's a workshop, it's for us to have this back and forth to find out, what each commissioner thinks or doesn't think about a specific issue. Not necessarily for us to decide, it's to move it then to the decision point. That transparency of us discussing it in front of the people, in front of the Zoom, is the point of the committee of the whole. It's the workshop where we get to openly discuss.
We can do that at any meeting. I like the discussion. We've had good discussion today.
I call for a vote.
I ask for a roll call.
Okay, roll call, please. This is a motion to continue the committee of the whole meeting.
Rankin,
No.
Gilmore,
No,
Oakley,
Yes.
Osler,
No,
Janeski,
No,
Rositis,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes,
motion failed. Okay, Dale.
sure. To approve the issuance of an informal or informational, sorry about that, informational press release regarding the costs of the county incurred for the prosecutor versus Clare County Board of Commissioners lawsuit.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion on this?
What's the point of this motion?
Keep the public informed. We had a member of the public actually request that this show up in the paper. And it has been mentioned at both of my township meetings, people want to know what it actually costs the county. And I think it's good to keep them informed. That just allows us a little more transparency. Because it was a costly expenditure for the county.
Well, I'd like to then amend the motion to include all lawsuits that the county has been involved in for the last 20 years. Let's, in the interest of transparency that you just revealed, let's go ahead and make sure that we know all the costs this county has incurred on all lawsuits for the last 20 years.
Is there a second to that amendment?
I was second.
Any further discussion? Would the gentleman that requested it in the back row want to give us input on that?
Do you have an opinion?
The only thing I'm gonna say is I noticed Gabe is objecting to this information being released to the public. I think most people know that his wife is a judge and I feel this is a conflict of interest.
Thanks, Randy. Okay, I think we need to have a roll call on Gabe's amendments. To include all the lawsuits for the last 20 years in our press release. Can we do roll call, please?
Rankin,
No.
Gilmore,
No,
Rhodes,
yeah,
Oakley.
Yeah.
Janeski,
No,
Rositis.
Yes.
okay, motion failed.
Osler,
Oh,
no,
motion failed. Okay, then let's vote on the regular motion, and we should probably do that as roll call as well.
I just have one more question. So
Sure.
is this a precedent that we're setting for future? One way or the other, is this, if it passes, something that we're planning on doing moving forward for?
I think it's a
If
good
there's a member
idea.
of the public that sees something that they want to have a report on, we'll go ahead and do that moving
I
forward.
think it's good to have press releases periodically anyway. And the newspaper usually does a nice job of reporting our meetings. But I think to have it brought to people's attention with all of us having to answer these questions at our township meetings that we go to, I think it should actually be published.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like it's a one-off. This is the opportunity for if there's more stuff that comes up, because I know I think that it's a good idea for the public to be informed on this kind of stuff and the details of stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that like if someone else comes up with another lawsuit or something that we go through, this is kind of setting a precedent for us to be able to do those kind of.
I think it's good, yeah.
Okay.
Needs to be.
Okay, roll call, please.
Is this for the initial?
This is for the initial motion to approve the issuance of a press release regarding the outcome of the and expenses for the prosecutor versus Clare County Board of Commissioners lawsuit.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Bruce.
Since we won't have full transparency for all lawsuits, no.
Rankin,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Oakley,
Motion carried. Lori, if you would prepare that, I would appreciate it.
Okay, I'll get some information because I want to make sure that I understand exactly what it is you want me to.
It was stated here, the costs and should include hours incurred on your behalf for gathering information for that
All right.
lawsuit. Okay, David, the intergovernmental agreement, please.
Okay. I move to approve the intergovernmental early voting and ballot programming agreement as presented, expiring December 31st, 2026, and authorizing ballot programming payment of $5,000 per election.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Oakley.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, brings us to the administrator's report.
Well, Steve Curry stole my thunder. So basically everything I was going to talk to you about, with the road funding and the expansion of indigent defense for juveniles, the dedicated revenue sharing, and the, work towards a permanent solution of funding for Michigan courts. I was in my report, so. I did open the 25-26 budget and we started putting in the set numbers, the wages, the insurances, things like that. We started working on that yesterday. So, and then as far as the state of the county, at this time, we should be about 46% expended, and we are at 38%. So we're about 8% underspent right now, which is good because I kind of want to hold that. Because we will be having an increase in our retirement payments for the next fiscal year.
Thank you.
How much of an increase?
$200,000.
Okay, clerk's report. Lori, do you have a report for us?
So the May election ballots have been delivered. We were third in the state to have them printed, so I was pretty proud of that. I've also reached out to, back to the election, we're going to be testing the ballots this week and get them to the clerks by next week, so AVs can start going out. We tried something different this time. The vendor will allow us to order the ballots already folded. So hopefully that will take some pressure off from the township clerks. Having to fold all those hundreds and hundreds of AV ballots. So hopefully they like that. It's something new we're trying, and I'm interested in the feedback I get from them. I reached out to Senior Services and Veterans Affairs to see if we could schedule some dedicated time during, like at the meal site center. For me to just be there and answer questions for the seniors regarding, property fraud, vital records, estate planning documents, pistol licenses, elections, notary services, those types of things that I believe some seniors may have questions on and don't know who to go to ask. So if I schedule just a day, a month or a day a week that I'm available, and hopefully other departments and elected officials that have pertinent information might want to join in on that. And also to Veterans Affairs. And I could talk about, filing their DD 214s with my office as well. So just trying to reach out to the community, be a little more accessible and helpful to them. I haven't heard back from either of them yet. I just emailed Carl today, but just waiting to see. And if it's not an option, then I'll just do something on my own somewhere else. But thought that would be a good place to start with the community. Any questions for me regarding anything?
Lori, are you starting to see an increase of the elderly getting hit for property fraud?
Not in our county specifically, but I was at a register of deeds conference the last 2 days, and that was a big topic. And we had a lot of people come in regarding property fraud, and it's rampant around the state. And in our county, when we have seen it, it's usually with a family member. But the property fraud alert helps. It notifies them that something was done. Yeah, Lori?
The veterans breakfast might be a good,
Yeah, I asked him
opportunity to
about
do
that. So, and he had invited me before, but I wanted to make sure that that was okay, that I still come and do something like that. Yeah, so I'm sure he'll be fine with it. So, yeah. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenny?
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
I passed out earlier my normal reports that I've done for you guys, so cash on hand is current as of yesterday, our investments and the fund balances. If you have any questions on those, you can always come see me in my office if you ever want to go over exactly what those funds do. I'm more than willing to help anybody learn those. And I'll just keep it brief. We're in the middle of tax settlement of all the 2024 taxes. For all millages and special assessments, it's around $57 million. We're still at our 90% collection rate, which means only 10% are delinquent, which is, I'm gonna use the word status quo. It usually gives us a telltale sign of how things are going in the county, how we've been affected. And as of this year, we still have the 10% collection rates or delinquent rates to collect. So delinquency wise, I'll be buying back $5.5 million worth of taxes. And then we get begin collecting those. The county-wide millage brought in $6.8 million, just in case you're interested in that. We still have 2 townships that we're just wrapping up to actually push them into our system, but all the other ones have been settled thus far. I'll have more information for you guys. If you guys want to say more. Any other questions?
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
Okay, chairperson report. I've just been attending my meetings. Nothing major going on at either one of the townships. There has been a lot of interest in solar cells being sent to the residents of Sheridan Township. So far, no one has acted on them that I'm aware of. But just be aware, there's companies out there that are actively recruiting farmers to rent their crop fields for solar production. That's all I have. Rick?
I've had nothing this week.
Nothing? David?
Of course. So community action, we had the community needs assessment, that we presented for us. Some interesting figures that I thought the board might like to know. In Clark County, 1/4 of households spend more than 30% of their income on housing. And we are at 22% poverty.
Okay.
Franklin Township has been discussing the implementation of a spiller pay ordinance. Jerry, if you guys remember, a couple months ago, brought it before the board to let us know that he's gonna be talking to different townships about getting them to implement this ordinance. This allows townships to be able to recoup costs for hazardous waste cleanup in their townships. They do not have an ordinance like this. They will be out of luck if something were to happen. If the company that spills its insurance is not sufficient for the cost of it, they will have to pay the remainder. They also had discussions about adjusting their website, and the board received several thank yous from the constituents of their district for continued support and transparency when receiving information they had found out from several other townships that they had to have more stringent requesting of information at additional costs. Franklin is willing to give it to them relatively cheap or free. Summerfield has exciting news when it comes to connectivity. The last couple of months, they've been working on getting a new tower up to provide cell service out there. It is currently about half power according to the company. So they're starting to get 5G out in Summerfield, which is rather nice for residents. There's been places where you haven't been able to get any cell service for years, and with this new tower, it's making it a lot easier for the residents of the area. Hamilton Township had a public hearing this last month. And during the public hearing, there were concerns about the OMA and potential violations that the board had received due to the changing of the blight policy. They were also made aware of a grant for grant writing. The park director and her assistant have been approached about potentially filing for a grant to allow us a subscription countywide at the library to access grant proposals that you could then file for. So they're going to look into that. In Winterfield Township, there was a special presentation by the Marion Fire Department. There is going to be a new fire training center built in Marion of shipping containers. It's going to be free use for any of the departments that are contracted with Marion as mutual aid services. So we're going to be able to train our firefighters out there. The mock-up model that they showed us is very impressive looking, and it's been built using completely donated materials and funds. And it's getting ready to break ground, and we should have it done around December, which is really good news. And then also Winterfield is looking for letters of support for BEAD grant funding for internet. There's a grant, BEAD grant, where they're going to try and get more connectivity for the internet in the township, as well as some other places in the county. The application is due on March 31st, so they're looking to get letters as soon as possible.
What company are they using to have those letters sent to? Because I've sent letters out.
It's probably the same one.
So that's done. I've done all the letters of support.
They will be very happy to hear that. And then last night in Frost Township, there was a discussion about light and zoning ordinances. And they discussed the upcoming road projects. They're going to be a bit of a hiccup for people driving around in the township. And that starts their 27 projects. That's all I have.
I have a question for David.
Yes.
David, didn't they approve a hazardous materials release for townships like a year ago? An ordinance to where they would fall under that category, to where if they had a spill or something, they wouldn't have to pay for it. It would be recouped from other avenues. I thought they passed something like that a year ago. All the
Not
individual
this particular
townships.
township, other townships in the district have, but that one was still discussing it.
I think Brant did it a year ago.
Yeah, it was like a year ago. All of my townships went through it and approved it at their meetings.
Couple of townships are a bit lagging behind.
There are copies of the support letters in your packet, so you can take them to your next meeting if you
Thank
wish.
you, I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, David. Steve,
I have nothing to report.
Marlene,
Nothing, just been in my meetings.
Dale,
Jacob?
I'm coming back to Jacob. I didn't forget Jacob.
Oh, okay.
Jacob.
No, just attending my meetings. I had something interesting happen at Greenwood. It was brought up by Rachel, the township clerk, that she was disappointed that we were going outside to have the ballots programmed. And it was costing a lot more to go out, and I actually pulled up our minutes and went to explain to her that that's not the process we're going through. We're actually, having the townships contract with the clerk, and we're kind of the fiduciary with the money and stuff like that, and she was programming them. But it was kind of tough because even though I had it in writing, she really wouldn't kind of register or listen, but it was interesting, somewhere she got misinformed on it, but I hope I cleared it up. I'm not sure if I had told her to get with you, Lori, if she had any questions on it, and that I know I went to you, and probably a week prior to that, you had conversations with her on the process.
Yeah, we sent an email. I sent an email out to the clerks. And Lori got a copy of it.
It was very clear email.
It was a clear email, yeah. And then I will email them all again, since this has passed, and send them a copy after it's signed. And then explain it again. I'll do that today.
Okay. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Dale.
Yep.
Jacob, I hadn't
Yes.
forgotten you.
So attended both the meetings, the Village of Farwell, they have their annual Easter egg extravaganza. It'll be on Saturday, April 12th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the park in the Farmers Market Building. They're looking for sponsors and community organizations to participate in the events. And then the Farwell Farmers Markets will be starting back up Saturday, May 3rd, and vendor applications are available on the website.
Yeah, thank you. Lori, it worked for you anyway.
Okay, I have one more thing. I did put, this was in your packet. And it also was set at your place. April, we are hosting the materials management planning meeting. And we, as the group for the Heartland Material Management Group, are inviting the county commissioners in the region to come and learn about it if they would like to. But if you're gonna come, I need to know, because then I'll know where to hold the meeting. Cause I'm getting RSVPs. I need to know what big of a space I'm gonna need. If you let me know.
Lori, I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll
thank
be in
you.
Mexico.
In jail?
It's April 25th at 10:30 in the morning.
I will be there too.
Okay. Thank you.
Gotta put you in now, Lori. I won't be there. 10:30 in the morning?
Yes. And I'll have all the RSVPs back by tomorrow, and then I'll let you know which room it's gonna be in.
Okay. All right, thank you. Did you have anything else? What were you?
No, thank you.
Okay. Then we're back to public comment. Back, another 3 minutes.
Okay. The first thing I was gonna do, when I get into it, I want to thank Lori Phillips for showing me how to get into the notes in Zoom last meeting. So I was able to print this off this morning and come up with some questions. On the press release for the money spent for the lawsuit for Clare County versus the prosecutor, is this going to be broken down for as much as how much money was spent prior to arbitration, then after the arbitration was refused, how much was spent after that? And then also I I was gonna ask, as long as we're doing this as the, goal of that, which I have no problem of stuff being shown out, but can we also have a public release of how much money spent on police, correction, lawsuits, and any other Clare County for the same time period, how much it cost us, how much for that, and how much was paid out? And then,
Well, let me interrupt just now. What would be the purpose of that?
well,
Is John not being transparent enough or what's going on?
I get along, I didn't ask him how many lawsuits were with John, I'm saying for the whole county. As long as we're narrowing in on one area, we might as well do the whole county for the same time period, is what I'm saying. However many lawsuits happened, how much it cost, how much was paid out,
Well,
You're saying for just that time period,
just the same time period.
just same time period?
Yeah.
We can discuss that in another meeting.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd get any answers today out of this. This was all food for thought when I was going. Now, and I know this is a personal thing for me. I'm hard of hearing. I do have my hearing aids and everything else. I have an issue with my wall, my back not being to the wall. I sit up front. I don't feel comfortable with that. Did you hear anything more about the PA system that's supposed to be coming in?
Go ahead, Lorraine. We talked about that this morning before our meeting.
So it's actually supposed to be today. I can pull up the email that I got.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I just.
They said that they were gonna come this week, probably midweek. They were waiting for one more thing that was back ordered. They would be here midweek. Today is midweek, so.
Okay,
High probability we'll have it for the next meeting.
I'm hopeful,
Fingers
right?
crossed.
well, I mean, you had to get a different company because the other one is dragging their feet so much. And this one.
Yeah, we
but-
did. And then there were some issues because there were so many microphones.
Mhm.
There'd be so many microphones that it
Don't want
would
this-
interact with each other. And so there was a lot more to it than just
Well, I
the
understand,
microphone.
I understand.
So, but it should be,
So
we're expecting it this week.
we're all each individually getting them?
Everybody's getting their own microphone. And then there's gonna be 2 microphones on where you're sitting, Pat. But those are gonna be, Wi-Fi microphones.
Mhm.
But everybody can't have a Wi-Fi microphone because they'll all interact with each other. So we can only have 2. And then everybody else will have a microphone and you'll have to turn it on and then turn it off. So there's, because of as many microphones as we have.
Okay. Well, again, I thank you guys for your time. I am learning how to use Zoom. I'm not an ignorant person, but I'm ignorant to all that computer stuff, and Laurie did help me out a lot last week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other public comment? Oh, go ahead. Randy, state your name so they have a few minutes.
Randy, great. Want to thank the board for releasing this information. I think the public has a right to know how their tax dollars are being used. I would like to think that when people come to the board, they may not get what they're looking for, right? I think they should respect the board's decision. But in a case like this, somebody didn't like the way you voted, and they decided to use the legal system. But the thing is, they didn't use their own money. They used the taxpayers' money. And I want to clarify, I did slightly misspeak. Whenever heard Gabe's wife is the judge, but at the time this was all going on, his wife's the prosecutor, who is now coincidentally the judge. I also believe that if there's any remote possibility that you're somehow connected to a situation, you should recuse yourself. It is a conflict of interest. And taxpayers' money is being misused in this county. And let us set an example that we are watching. We're watching the federal government. We're watching every levels of government. And we're sick and tired of how our money's being wasted. But thank you for passing the information. I think this is a good first step in letting the people know this is what's going on in our county. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Any other public comment? Okay, unfinished business. I don't think we had any, did we?
No.
Okay, new business. Did you want to say something about the,
I'm gonna
Great.
ask Jenny to just kind of give you an overview of it.
Yeah, it's, so the drains are their own entity and they can get into, their own bonding and financing. However, it also has to flow through you and you sign off on, like the bond that we had just gotten for $9 million for the little tobacco drain.
right,
But they're getting ready to go into a big project where they're having to assess all the drains, see if the drains exist, and things like that. So their drain board has, motioned to do an internal loan from the little tobacco drain to support all of this drain work that's gonna be done countywide, at 1% interest payback. They don't have an exact amount, so I asked them to get an estimate to me, and they're thinking roughly around 500,000. So it's more of a, you know, the commissioners and myself were co-workers together, but you are the finance, you're in charge of the finance. So I'm going to be taking money from a fund, giving it to another fund, and I don't know if you need to make the motion, but I do think you need to be aware that's gonna happen.
Well, and it's a loan. It's like an internal
It's
loan.
gonna be an.
It goes back. I mean, it's very transparent
Yeah.
that money stays with the little tobacco. It's just,
So instead of going out and getting the big interest, getting hit with the big interest fees, it's going to be a 1% internal like we're doing. with-
and it
I was
will,
gonna say, is this similar to what we're doing, what we just voted on before with the,
It is, except for this will be paid back quicker because all of this will be assessed on the winter taxes for each drainage district. And so it will all be paid off with tax settlement the following year.
and it's cheaper for the residents for their assessment because they won't be
have all
paying
the
that
interest that they
interest.
have
For the
added
new
on.
drain side, I should say, for all the new.
Right.
drains.
So it'll be cheaper for the people.
and this is just informational because they're their own entity.
There, yes, yeah, they can do that. However, I'm kind of the middleman because I have to pay the debts and I have to do all of that stuff. And so I report to you and on your bank sheets or the reports that I send out to you, it's all gonna be on there. That money is shifting, so.
All right, thanks,
So
John.
I don't feel it's a motion, but I'm
No, I don't think so.
not in your seat.
What's
So
the amount?
it's done wrong.
What's the amount?
We're not sure yet, but they're thinking roughly around 500,000. So it's kind of just a heads up. I kind of mentioned it a little bit at the end of the committee of the whole last week, but I'll know more information, I'm assuming shortly, and I can get it to you at one of the next meetings.
We'll just keep you informed.
But I know it's coming, and I don't know exactly when, but as soon as the other money runs low, then it's gonna be. So as long as you guys are aware of that, that makes me.
Okay, thanks, Jenny. Anything else under new business?
did have a question. I don't know if it falls under new business, but so with the motion that was made with the committee of the whole, is that now then the next committee of the whole meeting?
Just cancel.
Okay, and then if we want to have some sort of workshop or committee of the whole like meeting, we'd have to vote on that
It
during.
would have to be a special meeting.
Okay,
So with the special meeting, 3 commissioners have to email or get a hold of the clerk and
okay,
explain what they want the special meeting for. And
okay.
it has to be, you know, it has to be posted 18 hours prior to.
And how is for the agenda for the special meeting on your front, how is that different from what you're doing with the regular meetings or a committee of the whole meeting?
I'll just make I mean, depending upon what it's gonna be about, I'll just make the agenda.
It'd be whatever you
Okay, is it the
request a
same kind of
special meeting
timelines
for.
though? Like, are you still under the same crunch for having it by a certain time before the meeting? I
Well,
know with these
it
meetings,
just depends on when, no, because it would depend on when the request was and how long. You know, if it was 18 hours,
okay,
Right, I have to notify each board member 24 hours in advance in writing. So.
Okay.
So it really has to be a little bit more.
and then it'll be posted
18
18 hours.
I have to notify the board members 24 hours. in advance.
which isn't an instant process.
Right, and the request has to be in writing, you have to say what you want the special meeting for, when you want it, the date and the time. All that has to be in request.
So if there's a topic that comes up that needs to be discussed, call me. And then we'll look at the calendar and say, okay, we've got to meet this and this and this. So then we'll need 2 more people to contact the clerk. So we'll take
Okay,
care
I'm
of
just
it.
trying to figure out
Yeah.
what, now that the dynamic has changed with the meetings and everything, I'm just trying to make sure that I understand how what the effect of that is.
Were we looking to go to a different format for the second meeting, or was it just to get rid of the second meeting altogether?
We got rid of the committee of the whole meeting. So if we want a second meeting, that'll have to come up and be voted on having a second meeting.
Which then that would be something that either have to get brought up when we go to approve agenda at a regular meeting or a week before that Wednesday of a regular meeting by noon to Lori.
Right.
Okay,
I can make adjustments to an agenda too, before I get it out to you guys.
well, I know that's what happened like with this meeting with separating out the motions for the Zoom stuff and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay, if there's no other new business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Gotta move it first.
I thought you made the motion.
And no, I said I would entertain it.
Oh, I'll make a motion.
I'll second
Okay.
it.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion adjourned.